I built a FPV ground monitoring station. Just want to share with you how I put mine together. Maybe help you all out. What I did, I took very easily accessible parts, put them all together, and came up with a system that has a total height of 14 feet and very easy to set up about anywhere you want to go. I'll start at the bottom and just show you real quick. I took a regular cheap tripod used for, I think, a small laser monitoring thing, tore it apart, reassembled it, put it together, excuse me, and added this extension pole. The pole will go up to 12 foot, so that plus the height, fully extended height of the tripod gives me 14 foot to the top. I mounted the monitor here. For me, I chose to do it so that I could be standing up and fly the quad if I want to, or I can tilt the monitor down and sit in front of it in a chair and do it that way. On up the monitor, you'll see I've got the wires clipped in with those clips there. They work very, very well. Up on top, I've got the receiver, diversity receiver, battery operated. The entire setup is 2S or 3S. Now, let me show you in the two-part video here of how I put all this stuff together. Alright, I purchased the Bosscam FR632 receiver, and these are the antennas that came with it. Now, depending on how you want it, I was wanting a little bit better antenna than this. So what I did, I drug out some antennas, and the only thing you have to be careful of is here on the Bosscam. This is a female SMA, and you have to have a male SMA. I don't know if you can see that real clear. Anyway, have to have a male SMA to go into it. If you don't, like this one here, it's not male, it's female also, and you're going to need to buy an adapter where it's got the male on both sides, SMA. That'll get your antennas hooked up. Now down on the bottom side, you have the connection here on the left for the antennas. This is the diversity antenna side. Maybe show it better this way. This is the diversity side. You plug this cable into there. It comes out. You've got these three connections here, video and audio. Now if you'll notice, these are female, so you'll need an adapter to go into your monitor. And what I did in this case here, I'm going to need 14 foot extension. So I bought it, and they both have male on both sides. That way the males will go here to connect that, and this will go over to my monitor and connect in there. Now on the power side of it, well, first let me tell you also, you don't have to use the diversity antenna, and what that means is it'll flop back and forth and pick up the best signal. You can just tell it, or excuse me, not tell it, but just plug it in, for example, antenna A, and it'll just use this antenna here. And also, if you just want to use antenna B, plug it into here, it'll just use this antenna B. So you can do it anyway. Now for the power to it, this is very versatile. It actually goes from 6 volts to 28 volts for the power. And in my whole setup here, I'm choosing to do everything obviously with batteries. So I've got mine set up to go on to a XT60 plug. You can do it whatever you want. So I'm into there, and I'm good to go with the receiver. Alright, let's take a look at the monitor. Alright, I bought a 12-inch monitor. I'm not going to go over the details of the monitor. That's not necessary. The only thing I want to point out is, number one, I'm powering, again, everything with battery, as most of us will be doing. I'm going to do a 3S, and the reason I chose this monitor is because it's dual power. You can use a 12-volt system like this, or you can use a wall charger and plug it into that. Now let me show you how I mount it to the pole. Alright, on the back of it, it has a plate, or excuse me, has holes where you can mount a plate onto it. So I cut a plate to fit the holes, and I also made a bracket to make the thing adjustable, and you'll see it there. And what I can do is change the tilt angle of the monitor. So with the setting in that position, the monitor is going to be straight up and down. If I want to sit down, I can see if I can do this. Get back that way. Okay, I can have the angle of the monitor that steep, or if I'm standing up, it can be tilted up like that. So it's very versatile, and the way it attaches to my pole is I've got 2 holes in the pole. This goes through it, and a couple nuts on the back. It's good to go. And I need to paint all this stuff, and it'll be finished. For my tripod, I needed to have something that would have adjusting legs on it. So I just took a small, cheap laser tripod with adjustable legs, and I tore it apart, and I'll show you what I did to make it fit my application. Okay, as you can see, I've removed the adjustment handle and also the center rod that goes up through the top of it. And what I also did is, on the top, I actually cut out the hole here. It's about 1.5 inches, I think it was. Anyway, I used a metal blade and an electric reciprocating saw, jigsaw, and cut this out. And I was very careful to cut it out in as good a circle as I could to make sure that everything would fit right. Next, what I did was take a piece of coupler. This is PVC coupler. Now, there's no point in me giving you the size of it, because depending on what type of extension pole you use will determine what size this pipe is to be, this coupler is to be. But the way I did it, I cut out a slot, as you can see, and it fits down inside. Let me turn around here. It fits down inside. And no need to glue it. If you get a good cut around here, there's no need to glue it. And if you look real close, I also left the tightening nut down here, and you can watch this here. The reason I did that is I can put my rod in there, tighten it down, and it'll clamp around the pole, won't let it spin or move at all. Now, to get the adjustment knob out of here, it's hard to see, but there's a very, very small pin that if you just take a screwdriver and push down, it'll allow the mechanism to pull out of the tripod. Now these are some of the fittings that I used to put mine together. Again, yours may or may not be the same size. You'll have to decide that when you get your extension pole. What I did, I took this coupler here and I cut a hole in it. This is the one where you saw where it goes down inside of the tripod. These, I did roughly the same thing, took another coupler and I cut a bigger gap on here, and these are going to be used to hold the cable against the extension pole when I raise it up. And last but not least, I took this coupler here, and what I did, you can see it looks very, very rough, but I had to take a piece of, razor knife and sandpaper and grade this down to get it to fit the way I wanted to. Well, let me show you how all that stuff goes together. Alright, this coupler here is the one where I cut and put it down inside here and use it as a clamp and tighten in and hold it into the tripod. Now down on the bottom side of it, the end of it, I needed a coupler that would fit down in here, and the reason being this will give me stability so the bottom won't wobble around and fall over. So this is where I took the coupler and used a razor knife and skimmed it all off, and my goal was to get it so it would have another coupler fit down over top of it. So I take this one, there's no grooves cut in this at all, it just fits down over top of that. Now the last but not least on this is another coupler. It doesn't have any cuts in it and it fits over top of it. Now all these, I'll glue these together and then paint them black to match the tripod.